If it happens, Star Trek IV can finally introduce the original series character teased 15 years ago. Ever since J.J. Abrams' Star Trek reboot launched in 2009, the Kelvin timeline films have been dangling intriguing hints and narrative breadcrumbs for longtime fans to follow. But one of the most exciting teases, one that hardcore Star Trek, the original series fans have never forgotten, was the mention of a character that, despite 15 years of potential, has yet to be introduced. If Star Trek IV ever gets made, the time is perfect to finally deliver on the promise made all those years ago, the introduction of Hikaru Sulu's daughter, Demora Sulu. Though she never appeared in the Kelvin films, Demora was subtly referenced in Star Trek 2009 when young Kirk playfully mocked Sulu's combat skills and asked, "What's your name?" To which Sulu responded, "Hikaru Sulu." This moment didn't directly reference Demora, but the film's inclusion of Sulu's full name, something never spoken in the original series, was a subtle nod toward deeper character development and lineage. It quietly invited viewers to imagine a future where Sulu might become the father we know he eventually becomes in the Prime timeline. Now, with Star Trek IV facing an uncertain future, but still holding the potential to be greenlit, the filmmakers have an opportunity to not only deepen Sulu's story, but bridge the Kelvin and Prime timelines in a meaningful way by introducing his daughter, and not just as a throwaway reference, but as a major character in her own right. Who is Demora Sulu? Demora Sulu was first introduced in Star Trek Generations 1994, played by Jacqueline Kim. By the time of that film, she was helmsman of the USS Enterprise B, suggesting she followed in her father's footsteps both figuratively and literally. Her presence was brief but impactful. In a single line of dialogue, Captain Kirk expresses shock that Sulu has a daughter, to which Captain Harriman responds, "You didn't know?" He's a proud father. Though we never learned much more about Demora on screen, her existence carried deep implications. It meant that Sulu not only had a child but raised her with the values and ambition necessary to reach Starfleet's highest ranks. She was a symbol of the enduring legacy of the original Enterprise crew and a hopeful sign that their ideals would carry on into the next generation, literally. Why Kelvin Demora makes sense now. In the Kelvin timeline, so much remains uncharted. The events of Star Trek Beyond 2016 left the crew alive, bonded, and looking toward their next great mission. John Cho's portrayal of Sulu revealed that he was a father with a husband and daughter waiting for him on Yorktown. This moment, though brief, was a groundbreaking moment for representation in Star Trek, and also a significant character milestone. If that little girl is Demora, Star Trek IV could jump forward a few years and show her entering Starfleet, possibly joining the crew, or even captaining her own ship. Demora's inclusion would provide rich narrative opportunities. She could represent the next generation of Starfleet officers, inheriting the legacy of those who came before. Thematically, she could challenge the aging heroes to consider what kind of galaxy they're leaving behind. Her relationship with her father, Sulu, could become an emotional anchor for the film, offering the kind of heartfelt drama that elevated films like Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek Generations. A new kind of hero for a new Trek era. Introducing Demora Sulu in Star Trek IV wouldn't just be fan service, it would be forward-thinking storytelling. In a franchise where legacy is everything, and where generational transitions have always been part of the narrative DNA, a new Sulu could usher in a fresh perspective. She could be younger, more idealistic, and less battle-hardened than the current crew, a reminder of what Starfleet was meant to be in its purest form. In a broader context, Demora could also reflect modern sensibilities in storytelling. She could be the face of a more inclusive and empathetic Starfleet, shaped not only by conflict and diplomacy, but by a commitment to growth, understanding, and exploration. She wouldn't need to be a carbon copy of her father. Instead, she could push back, challenge him, or struggle with living up to his reputation. Those dynamics are compelling because they reflect real generational tension, and they ground Star Trek's optimism in very human drama. Passing the torch. If Star Trek IV truly wants to capture the spirit of the original series while updating it for a new era, it must embrace legacy in meaningful ways. We've already seen glimpses of this through Spock's internal conflict, McCoy's medical ethics, and Kirk's personal growth. But it's time to take that